Hey everybody, it's GoblinX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing another quick draft of Kaldheim. Just had a ton of fun with the format yesterday, so I will be playing it again here. And now we have Essica's Chariot as the rare in our pack, one of the strongest cards in the whole set, I would say. It's 4 mana for a 4/4 vehicle. It creates 2/2/2s when it enters the battlefield, and it crews for 4. Whenever it attacks, you create a token that's a copy of target token you control. So 4 mana for 2/2/2s no matter what, even if they blow up the chariot immediately. If you get to attack with this one time, you've now got a third 2/2 out of it, and that's not even counting the fact that you're attacking with a 4/4 while you're doing that. Really, really good card. Pretty absurd in terms of limited power level. It's going to be incredibly hard for anyone to beat this card if we manage to slam that down on turn 4. So Essica's Chariot, easily the pick here, better than pretty much any common or uncommon in the whole set. See what we get in pack 2 now. Let's see, pick 2, we've got Bound in Gold, good white removal. We've got Feed the Serpent, good black removal. Fall of the Imposter, that is removal as well, right? The first 2 levels of the saga are putting a +1/+1 counter on something. The final is exiling something. And then we also have Herald, which is 3 mana for a 3/2 menace. If we draft a bunch of elves and warriors, this could be some card draw when it enters the battlefield. Looking at the top 5, picking an elf or warrior or something out. Not the strongest pack ever, like kind of just like Bound in Gold here. One thing I do want to note, since we've taken Essica's Chariot, I think there's pretty much no way that we don't end up in green here. We're going to do everything we can to force the color, having pretty much the strongest card in the color in our deck already. So taking a gold card here, pick 2, is much less of a risk than it would be normally, because we're pretty much guaranteed to be green. So taking a Herald is just as risky as taking Bound in Gold, because it's just the odds of whether or not we play black or whether or not we play white. We're just certain we're playing green. So the fact that these are green and a secondary color doesn't really affect their playability for us, because we're just definitely green with an Essica's Chariot in the deck. So, I don't know. Probably the good removal here. I think Kaldheim has like less good removal than the Innistrad sets recently. So I am going to take the removal pretty highly. But I could see an argument for Herald. I don't think the Elves deck is that good. Most of the Elves at common are just not great, like Elderleaf Mentor and Death Knell Berserker and stuff. They're pretty filler, not a lot of great like uncommon Elves or rare Elves either. You kind of have to get lucky for the Elf deck to super pay off. I'm just going to take a Bound in Gold. Seems like the most consistent removal to me, even more consistent than the Saga, even though we could theoretically take the Saga there if we're pushing into green-white. Now we have a Lindworm in green. We're definitely playing green, and Lindworm's great at the top end. 6 mana, 6/6, get you back into the game with some life gain there. Kind of like Lindworm here. I think Augury Raven's probably a bit more powerful, maybe even like Rune of Flight a bit more powerful, but again, we're just 100% on green. So we take a card that's just not going to get cut no matter what, or we take something that could get cut if we move into a different color. I'll just take the powerful card that won't get cut here. And now, another Lindworm, green-white Snow Duel, and we are green and white so far. Probably take this pretty highly. Horizon Seeker is really nice, helps splash in a lot of things. The Boast ability is very good for us. I think I'm just going to take the green-white duel. Even though we're not guaranteed to be a snow deck here, we don't really have any reasons to be a snow deck. The worst-case scenario for us is that this just ends up being a good green-white duel for us in a regular like green-white aggro deck, so the worst case scenario taking Arctic Treeline here is not that bad, and the best case scenario, if we do manage to get some snow payoffs, it's going to be super, super helpful for us. We do see a Snow Forest, a Blizzard Brawl. Blizzard Brawl good even if you don't have the 3 snow permanents. I think it's probably better than Struggle for Skemfar. This one doesn't give a +1/+1 counter, like Struggle for Skemfar does, but it's a lot cheaper. Sure, you could foretell the Struggle, and then Struggle's cheaper. Is Elven Bow better than those, though? This card is very good. It doesn't look super high impact, but 3 mana for a 2/3 reach, and then just maintaining that equipment on the board for the rest of the game is a really good deal. Because then later in the game you just have this equipment that you didn't really pay for, because 3 mana for a 2/3 is a fine deal already. So you just have the leftover equipment so that your 3/3s can turn into 4/5s and stuff like that, which is a pretty big buff, a very relevant buff, especially in green-white. Being able to get reach is good. So maybe it's Elven Bow here. Elven Bow, Blizzard Brawl, probably my top 2, followed by Struggle and the Snow-Covered Forest. I think I'm going to go Elven Bow here. That might be wrong, but I already have a Bound in Gold, and I really do like this card. So we've got one removal already. Blizzard Brawl is quite good. It's just Prey Upon at worst. But I'm going to take the excellent kind of creature there. Alright, Grizzled Outright is a pretty good creature. 5 mana for 5/5. It seems pretty medium, but having played this format a decent amount, just good stat level creatures like 5 mana 5/5, 6 mana 6/6, these just tend to perform pretty well in this format. Just from previous experience. Despair Sentinel isn't terrible. And we could take like Alpine Meadow here if I want to leave 5-color Snow as something open, but I literally just draft 5-color Snow, so I don't want to just like force it here. We don't have a big reason to be in Snow. We didn't see, you know, Path to the World Tree, or even just an Icehide Troll or anything like that, so it's probably not happening this draft. Everything here is not too great. We could take Giant Ox and try to do the Giant Ox Colossal Plow combo, because it's funny, and it's also kind of the only card in our colors. I really don't like Arachniform. It's an aura, so you can get 2 for 1 with it. You spend 2 mana to throw this on one of your creatures, and then all of a sudden, if that creature gets killed, you spent your creature and your aura, and they only spent 1 card to deal with both. So, don't really like auras unless they have a good like enter the battlefield effect, some kind of impact, even if the creature that's enchanted dies like immediately. Well, our curve is really nice and spread out here. Axguard Braggart is fine. Yeah, it's fine. We already have like the best 4-drop in these colors, so our 4-drop slot, it's not super necessary to just like start filling it up right now. I could just take a Snow-Covered Plains or Glittering Frost here. I feel like that's not like forcing Snow, that's just kind of being open to the opportunity, because Axguard Braggart's just fine, it's not like it's great. Like the Elven Bow or Bound in Gold or anything that we've taken over Snowlands is. Yeah, I'm just going to be open to it and take a Snow-Covered Plains here over Glittering Frost. Alright. So now it depends how aggressive we want to get, but I think Battlefield Raptor is just the best card in here. You do have to be pretty aggressive to make it work, but if you are, it is excellent. Whereas Giant Ox is like, I mean, the only way this really works is if you're picking up Colossal Plows, or you're very, very defensive, and Scorn Effigy is really not for our color pair. This card doesn't really do much in anything except for the white-black decks that are trying to cast 2 spells in 1 turn, or the blue-white decks that are trying to cast spells that have been foretold. So if you don't have any foretell synergies, this is a very filler card. And we're unlikely to in this color pair. Now I think I like Jaspera Sentinel. Elder Leaf Mentor is like fine, but I feel like it's even more filler than the Braggart, so I'm not super excited about it. Wings of the Cosmos is like deceptively good for just 1 mana. Just does a lot of things, makes it a very surprising combat trick. +1/+3, so it really helps buff the toughness and make sure your creature survives. It also gives flying out of nowhere and untaps out of nowhere. So this is a really good combat trick to leverage into like killing an opposing creature or saving your own creature, and sometimes even just getting flying to try to close out the game. So Wings of the Cosmos is pretty good as far as combat tricks go. Maybe it's that over the Sentinel. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Jaspera Sentinel. I don't think I really played that card much. I'm going to take the combat trick here, try to get pretty aggressive, take a Battlefield Raptor. Excuse me, my apologies there. We'll take a second Lindworm here. Now we'll take a Braggart nice and late. Revitalize that I'm not playing. And an Arachniform that I'm not playing. See what we get in pack 2 now. Seraph in the rare slot. Not too hard to splash in this set. There are dual lands at common, as you can see from the Arctic tree line in our deck. So we could try to splash this in. It would be pretty good. 3 mana for a 3/3. Whenever an opponent controls... permanent and opponent controls leaves the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove all the counters if you want to exile all the things with mana value equal to or less than the number of counters. So pretty slow, but super powerful. I mean, a 3-mana 3/3 on curve, then every time they chump block, it just gets bigger. 4/4/5/5 just really bashes in, and it can exile the small stuff. Pretty good, but Spirit of the Elder Guard's like definitely great, and it's already just good in this deck, even if we're not playing Snow. Because this is a 4-mana. The absolute worst case scenario is that this is a 4-mana 1/4 that grabs a green-white dual land for us, which is not a bad deal, and it is not hard to make it better. So we don't even have to be the Snow deck for Spirit of the Elder Guard to be good for us, because we already picked up an Arctic Treeline, which is just the dual land in our colors. And we have double Lindworm here, so the fact that it pulls a land out for us and we play it, it's not like the land is redundant, even though this costs 4 mana. Usually you're like, alright, 4 mana is pretty late game. Do I really need another land at that point? Yeah, with double Lindworm, we kind of do. I'm pretty interested in the Spirit of the Elder Guard here. We can take it and use it in the deck without even needing to splash another color. Don't really need to do any work to make it do stuff. It's already good in our deck. Yeah, I'm in for a Spirit of the Elder Guard here. I like that card quite a bit. I don't think you could go too wrong taking Seraph here, because it's not that hard to splash in this format. But I'm on Spirit here. Now, Battlefield Warrior, if we want to get quite aggressive. The Bears of Yara for a blue card to splash in. You get a 2/2, then you make that 2/2 a 4/4. Then you make all your 4/4s deal damage to something. This is a pretty powerful splash. Pretty powerful saga if you pick up a lot of shapeshifters, a lot of changelings. And those are the main green-blue creature type. Masked Vandal is a shapeshifter. The 2-mana 1/1 that gets a ++1 counter is a shapeshifter. Maybe Bears of Yara here. Could also take a green-blue duel. In Snow, leave us open to splashing blue, but why would we take the card that helps us splash blue without taking the blue card we want to splash? I mean, I guess we could take it just to work with Spirit of the Elder Guard, and then we can start picking up Bergstriders. So if I want to force Snow, I guess the pick's Rimewood Falls. Take Rimewood Falls and then start taking Bergstriders and be like, alright, goodbye, Bears of Yara, I don't even care. I'm forcing Snow. That could totally be a thing. I think Bears of Yara seems powerful enough. I'm going to slam this in. I would love to pick up some Rimewood Falls later, though, now that I am taking that. That seems a little stronger to me than Seraph. Maybe I'm wrong on that one, but we'll find out. Plus, there wasn't like a Spirit of the Elder Guard in that pack that was competing for it. If there was a Spirit of the Elder Guard, I would have just done the same thing. I would have taken 2 Spirit of the Elder Guards over the 2 Bomb Rares there. And now I'll take a Bergstrider. We're already splashing blue, so we might as well. We already have 2 snow sources here for the Bergstrider. This card's just a very good card if you can pay the snow mana for it. Again, we could have a good consistent green-white aggro deck here, just take like Rune of Sustenance, but I really just feel like the slower, like, big snowy decks are so good in this form. I'm sorry. At this point, I would like to officially apologize for what I'm doing here, as I proceed to claim that I'm not forcing snow, as I immediately turn this green-white aggro deck into a snow deck. Yeah, I will take a Mistwalker here, though, for like Bears of Yara, though, over the Snow Swamp, so I'm not forcing snow that badly. But I mean, we did take Path of the World Tree, Bergstriders and stuff. Still pretty high on there. So the third pack, we're gonna have to take Snowlands really highly, because I kind of pivoted into snow halfway through pack 2. So that's a thing for sure. Don't have a lot of 2-drop creatures. I like taking Shieldmate here. We're probably gonna end up cutting Battlefield Raptors, because we're not gonna be that aggressive. It's kind of green-white splash blue, it looks like here. Definitely another Lindworm over a third Battlefield Raptor. I'm already a little unconvinced on the first couple now that we're doing what we're doing. Frostaugur might not work out in here, but it's much more likely to work out than Priest of the Haunted Edges, because we have some non-land snow permanents, and we don't have any black cards yet, so we're not like 5-color snow outside of Path of the World Tree. And Path of the World Tree doesn't have to consistently get sacrificed for it to be good. It's still the mana fixing on the front half of the card. So if you have just a single dual land for each random color, the path is still good. In my opinion. Well, we just wheel the Battershield the Warrior, which is one of those green-white aggro cards we were considering. I guess I'll just take it here. I don't know how high I am on Pilfering Hawk for this deck. I guess another snow card for Frostaugur, so that does matter quite a bit. Make the Frostaugur more active as a card draw engine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 snow permanents right now. Maybe. Maybe so. But Battle Shield Warrior kind of turns the Battlefield Raptors and stuff on a lot if we end up having to stay pretty aggressive. I'm still going to take Battle Shield Warrior there. And their Wings of the Cosmos. I don't think we're going to run Combat Tricks if we end up in the Snow version, but if we end up aggro, that'll be fine. Same with Code Spell Cleric. Both just kind of medium cards generally, but could be good in the aggro build. Just take a Wings again, I think. Doomscar Oracle, I guess. Snowland. Roots of Wisdom or Master Scald. Master Scald's really good with auras, or not auras, sagas, because these sagas automatically go into your graveyard when they're done doing their thing. So then you play Master Scald on turn 5, exile a creature from your grave, bring back your saga, and start doing it again. So I do like Master Scald in this deck, especially because we also have Eska's Chariot. So if anybody ever blows up our Eska's Chariot, being able to get that back is also good. So this is actually a really nice pickup this late, because we'll definitely run a Master Scald in here. Final pack, on-color Mythic Rare Angel. Seems like probably the pick. Let's look at everything else real quick, but I mean, there's the Colossal Plow to make the Giant Ox work well. Yeah, the only other card in this pack I'm remotely interested in, I think, is Snowfield Sinkhole, and I'm not going to take that over the Mythic Rare Angel. 3 mana for a 3/3 flyer. When it enters the battlefield or dies, you can exile a creature from your graveyard. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control other than Resplendent Marshal that shares a creature type with the exiled card. It's a bunch of random text, kind of just a 3 mana 3/3 flyer that sometimes puts like 1 +1/+1 counter on something else. So I don't know if it's really Mythic Rare power level, but it's still like probably rare worthy power level. 3 mana for a 3/3 flyer and limited is a pretty good deal. I'm still taking it here. I mean, moderately hard to cast, but we've got a good amount of mana fixing, and we're 3 colors maximum here, and white is kind of our main color. We can definitely just kind of splash the blue. Alright, Glacial Floodplain helps a lot splashing the blue, or we could take Bound in Gold. We have a pretty low Snowland count here for cards like Bergstrider and Spirit of the Alderguard. We don't have any way to grab a blue source with Spirit of the Alderguard yet. Pretty low snow count for Frostaugur. For all of those reasons, I like Glacial Floodplain really highly here, to the point where I'm going to take it over Bound in Gold. I know it's going to seem real whack, real wonky to a lot of people, but as I said earlier on the draft, Snowlands are super important for the Snow Synergy kind of decks, like what I ended up in here, and because I didn't get those Snowlands in the early packs, this is where I really get punished for it, because now I have to take these Snowlands over... excuse me. Now I have to take these Snowlands over like pretty good cards like the Bound in Gold there. And I'm probably taking it over to Esseka. I mean, Esseka's cool, but we have so many 3-drops. How often are we really just casting this as the 3 mana 1/4 mana fixer? And how often are we casting it as the Prismatic Bridge? Just never, right? I mean, I'm not trying to hit Mythic this month. Mythic top 1200 just gets to play an Alchemy tournament. So, I mean, I'm not even going to play because it's a constructed tournament, so I guess I don't really care that bad about winning, so we could go for just the fun thing. This would have been so good in our last snow deck because we did have a lot of mana fixing. We have much less mana fixing here, so it's going to be much more awkward, but theoretically casting the Prismatic Bridge is hilarious, and it is really good in this deck if it resolves. Well, if we get the mana for it, because the quality of our creatures in the deck in general, we've got just big creatures. We have 4 5 mana creatures and 3 6 mana ones. Prismatic Bridge is game ending every time. If we can actually hit the mana for it, that's just going to be really hard to do, especially if we don't take Shimmer Drift Veil here. But whatever, we'll do the fun thing here. We'll do the nonsense thing. If I were trying to be as competitive as possible, I would have just slammed the Shimmer Drift Veil there. And Old Growth Troll is going to be impossible to cast for this deck. Triple green in the 3-color pile. Clarion Spirit, again, we could have a nice, consistent green-white aggro deck, but it's not going to be as powerful, I think, as just cobbling together these snow synergies will end up being. Probably taking Maya here. We're more than heavy enough into white for it. And we'll probably play like 18 lands here, because we've got a lot of 5 and 6 mana cards. We play 18, 19 lands, so we get a lot of landfall triggers off of this. Pretty nice. I think Maya seems great here. Bretagod Protector. Another Path to the World Tree? Alright. We're all in. Sorry, Icehide Troll. I know Eyeside Troll would be good here, but second Path to the World Tree to really help cast that Prismatic Bridge and really help activate Path to the World Tree's effect seems huge here. Even Snow-Covered Forest would be massive. Fortunately, kind of clumping up the great snow cards in that pack. We don't have a lot of cheap creatures. 2 mana 2/2 Lifelinker seems great to me. We have a lot of expensive creatures. We have 20 creatures in the deck, but not a ton are cheap. Because we're probably not playing Battlefield Wrappers in here. Elven Bow's a 3-drop. Gates of Istfell actually seems very good, but again, we're so low on the Snowlands. We're not that low anymore. Yeah, Gates of Istfell is excellent. Gives us a really good way to cycle a land late game. Gain 2 life, draw 2 cards. I feel like Story Seeker is going to be so good as just an early game blocker for us, though. Trade off with something and gain a couple life really keeps us in the game to cast our bigger spells. Keeps us alive for the time. Yeah, the Snow-Covered Plains doesn't like help with mana fixing at all. All it is, the only reason to take Snow-Covered Plains is just to up the power level a little bit of like Spirit of the Alder Guard. We have enough Snowlands probably for consistent like Bergstriders by now. Yeah, if this were a Snow Duel, I'd slam it here, but just Snow Plains, I mean, we can take Story Seeker or Gates of Istfell over that. It's between those two. It's pretty close. I'm going to take the Story Seeker. Make sure I'm blocking things. Alright, now we actually are going to take Jesper Sentinels. They work as an early game blocker as well as a way to help mana fix for the Prismatic Bridge. They also ramp into the Prismatic Bridge, which is hilarious. So Jesper Sentinels actually ended up being a pretty important pickup for this kind of deck. So it is a little awkward. I passed up on them early pretty heavily. Another Master Skull doesn't seem horrible to me. We have Bears of Lityara, Elvenbow, Essica's Chariot to pick back up. Even a Bound in Gold. If that dies somehow. We have a lot of 3s. Really chunked up there. So I'll take another... We're really chunked up on 5-drops too, aren't we? Yeah, whatever we take here is going to be a bit awkward. I guess you can at least foretell the Doomscar Oracle and maybe start gaining some life off it early game, which is nice. Foretell this on turn 2, so on turn 3 you spend 1 mana for this and 2 mana for a 2-drop. Sure, I could see Oracle over another 5-drop. We just have so many. But at the same time, I could just take a Master Scald and cut a Grizzled Outrider. Seems not awful. You know what, sure. I feel like people are going to do everything they can to blow up Essica's Chariot. Excuse me. And being able to bring it back just seems pretty atrocious. I mean, that's just going to be a disgusting game of Magic. Okay, well. Living the Dream. Took a Snowland over this Bound in Gold and wheeled the Bound in Gold. Living the actual Dream out of that pack. Living the Dream here, another 2-drop that trades off and leaves behind a 1/1. Gives us lots of blocks in the early game. Alright, wow. Yeah, this deck really came together here. Horizon Seeker too, that's so good for us. Pull out a basic land from our deck, help hit the one swamp that we're going to put in here, the one snow-covered mountain. Yeah, we're straight up running one snow-covered mountain and one regular swamp to hit our 5-color cards because we have 2 Path to the World Tree, 1 Horizon Seeker. We have Spirit of the Alder Guard. We have a lot of ways to just pull out a 1-of land. We have 3 ways to pull out any basic, including non-snow lands, and 1 way to pull out any snow land. Oh yeah. It's all coming together. Alright, I need to grab a drink of water before I start spieling over the deck building half, or I'm just going to keep losing my voice here. Alright, this is going to be cool. This is going to be cool. Splashing in Prismatic Bridge and double Path to the World Tree. Good lord, have we got late game. We are not a combat trick deck. We are not a giant Ox deck. I mean, although an 06 blocker maybe sort of are. Run a pretty low creature count here. I think, like cut Doomscar Oracle, Battleshield Warrior for sure, Braggart. Our amount of like expensive cards here looks really awkward for us, but we have a lot of ways to make sure we keep hitting our land drops. Double Path to the World Tree, Horizon Seeker, Spirit, the Alderguard, Despair, Sentinel, Ramps. So we should be able to consistently hit the land drops to keep banking it to like 5 mana turn 5. And worst case scenario, we can cast the front half of Essica, and then the clumping at the top of the curve doesn't look as bad when we have another 3 mana dork. Yeah, 3 mana 1/4 taps for mana of any color. We're probably going to end up casting Essica more than we're going to cast the Prismatic Bridge, unfortunately, but I guess if we top deck her late game, we can just cast the bridge, and that's hilarious. 2 more cuts. Frostaugur didn't necessarily go off this time. Our last Frostaugur deck had like 20 snow permanents. But Frostaugur was also really nasty in that deck, so even if we just have like 10, it's probably still good. 3, 4, 5. Even if it's a 1 and 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. We only have 8, though. 8 might be too little for the Frostaugur. I mean, we can still run it as a 1 mana 1/2, and then we just have to make sure to treat it as we only dump mana into that if we're doing nothing else. Like, never dump mana into that just trying to reliably draw anything. It's just like, if we end up having an extra mana left over, then sure, we'll do that. But don't factor in that ability as a reason to play a 3 mana card on turn 4 or anything like that. Yeah, I think we can keep it in the deck. We just need to keep in mind how low our snow counts is. So yeah, I think I will keep it in the deck. And I'm probably going to cut down to just 1 Master Scald and 1 Lindworm here, I guess. Because that's still a lot of top end. And Double Path to the World Tree also closed the game out late game with just a huge impact. Essica's Chariot's obviously a game ender. Spirit of the Alderguard will be not as big as normal, but eventually pretty big, pretty high power stuff. You know, we could cut down on blue a lot here, actually. We have so many good cards here. We could just put a lot of white stuff back in and make blue really a splash. So we're kind of just green-white splash in late game off-color stuff. If we cut our early game blue out, like we could cut Bears, Mistwalker, Frostaugur, honestly, and then we have no blue cards till turn 5. And it's just for double Bergstrider and the 5-color stuff. I mean, that makes me feel really comfortable about my mana base. The question really just lies in, is it worth it to cut Bears of Lityara to do that? And it probably is. I don't think we need Bears of Lityara. It's pretty balmy, but if they kill your 2/2 or your 4/4 before the third part goes off, it doesn't do much. Yeah, I mean, this card, if all 3 parts of the saga go off, it's gotta be really good. It's gotta be exceptionally good if we have another Changeling on board, but we only had 1 more Changeling, which was the Mistwalker we just cut. Yeah, I think we can cut Bears of Lityara here. Focus in on green-white, so we can consistently hit those colors for sure. And then we're only really worried about hitting blue later in the game. You know, if we don't hit red or black for Prismatic Bridge, oh no, we'll just cast an Essica and we'll be fine. If we don't hit red or black for Path to the World Tree, that's fine because it still accomplished its goal, drawing us a land for that 2 mana and making sure that we consistently hit land drops to make it to 5/6. 9, 14, 15, 16, 17. I could see running 18 lands here, but I could also see not, just because we have double Path to the World Tree. We kind of have 19 lands, because both Path to the World Trees grab a land. Spirit of the Alderguard grabs a land as well. So we kind of have 20 lands. Horizon Seeker grabs lands too. Yeah, I'm not going to cut a land or anything wild like that, but I don't think I'm going to run an 18th. So what do we put in? We have another cheap creature that would be good in the deck. I mean, Giant Ox. If I really want to block. Maybe Doomscar Oracle. I don't think it's Goldmaw Champion or Batter Shield Warrior. We're just not that aggro. I don't think it's another late game drop like 4 or more like Braggart or a 5 drop here. Not putting in the Grizzled Outrider. But Master Scald's also worse now, because now the Master Scalds are just in here to bring Essica's Chariot back. Ooh, no, they could bring Path of the World Tree back if we draw. If we're in Magical Christmas Land and we've popped off with Path of the World Tree and then we draw, off of the draw 2, we draw Master Scald, just bring it back and do it again. Maybe we'll live in Magical Christmas Land. I'm going to keep double Master Scald in. I guess I'll just put a Giant Ox in here. That seems dumb. I feel like an 18th land would just be better than Giant Ox. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we could put Doomscar Oracle in. It's not putting anything on the board onto, but at least we can foretell it at that time. Definitely feels like the 23rd card is very much going to be a 23rd card, you know, the 23rd playable, the weakest of the 23 non-land cards in the deck. Nothing stands out to me as super good except for the blue cards, and the blue cards make the mana base a lot more difficult because they're early game spells. You know, we have so much stacked up on 5/6, we don't need an Outrider. Yeah, I guess Doomscar Oracle or Giant Ox here. Actually, Giant Ox Cruise Essica's Chariot. You know what? Screw Oxplow. Oh, yeah, screw Oxplow combo. We're gonna Ox Chariot. Ox Chariot so we can attack with the 2 cats and the Chariot itself just with Giant Ox. Get in there. Alright, this deck looks super sweet. Super sweet. So let's make sure we get our mana base all set up well. Definitely a lot of green and white, and a tiny bit of every other color. Slightly more blue than anything else. But I think that's already covered by our snowlands, right? No, we only have 1 blue snowland. Alright, we only have 2 blue cards. Just the Bergstriders. Really don't need a lot of blue sources here. Need a ton of green and white. We have 7 green right now. 4, 5. 7 white. We have equal green and white right now. We need to make room for 1 swamp. $12 green, 10 white. Probably just cut an island here, right? Call it a day. We have a lot of early game white plays, a lot of 2-drops. The 3-drop removal we want to have access to as quickly as possible. Resplendent Marshal's double white on turn 3. With green, we don't really need double green until turn 6 for Lindworm. We can, like, if we don't hit double green for Essica, then that means we're drawing other colors of mana than green, which means theoretically we're closer to casting the Prismatic Bridge half of Essica anyway. So I don't really think double green on turn 3 is super necessary for our deck. We also have Maya for double white on 5. So yeah, our green, it's more important to have 1 green mana than it is to have 1 white mana in the early game, but it's also more important to hit double white quickly than it is to hit double green. So I think we just go even split on green-white. Just even Steven it. 1, 2, 3, 7 white sources. 1, 2, 7 green sources. And then we still have the 1 black to pull out with the Paths and the Horizon Seeker. And we have 3 blue sources, Double Island and Glacial Floodplain with a lot of fixing for Bergstrider. We might not even need 3 blue sources, to be honest, with the amount of search we have in this deck, with Double Path to the World Tree and Horizon Seeker and Essica and Jaspera Sentinel tapping for mana of any color, Spirit of the Alder Guard searching. Yeah, we don't need that blue till turn 5. Do we even need 3 blue sources? No, let's go 2 blue sources. We have 1 more blue source than red or black, because it is slightly more important. So I still like having 2 of the sources, plus we really want to have a basic, because we have things that search basics out. But then I think we put 1 more forest in here. 6, 7, 8 green sources now, so slightly more green mana than white mana, just because green gives us 2 Path to the World Trees, a Horizon Seeker, Spirit of the Alder Guard. Green gives us mana fixing. So even though we do want to hit double white for Resplendent Marshal and Maya, green gives us the cards that give us the other mana. So I like this as the mana base here. Alright, so here is a final look at the deck here. We've got some fun stuff going on here. Our pick 1, pack 1, Essica's Chariot, going to be a powerful vehicle to crew. Sometimes we even get to crew it with a Giant Ox, which is absolutely hilarious. Got some big individually powerful cards like the Chariot late game, Lindworms and Striders, big stuff late game, Maya as well. And we've got some fun splashy stuff going on with Double Path to the World Tree, Horizon Seeker to pull out any basic land from our deck, Jaspera Sentinel to tap for a mana of any color, Spirit of the Alder Guard, to pull out any snowland from our deck. We've got a lot of ways to help us hit 5 color for a potential prismatic bridge, although we're also fine just casting Essica, and 5 color to crack our path to the world tree. So there's a look at our mana base here. 1 basic island, swamp, and mountain, 1 other blue source, the glacial floodplain. So all of our cards that dig a land out of our deck, the Paths, Horizon Seeker, and Spirit of the Alder Guard, can pull out blue mana. So that's why we only have 2 blue sources for the 2 Bergstriders. And we only have 1 of each other color because obviously they're only for optional effects. We don't need to crack Path to the World Tree for it to do something. We don't need to cast the Prismatic Bridge. We can just cast Essica. So we definitely don't want more than 1 black or red source in the deck. So that is the deck here, and let's see how it does as we head into round 1. Alright, and here we are in round 1 with a very slow hand, but we have the high impact late game plays, a Bound in Gold to try to keep us alive. It's a rough hand here, but I think I'm going to keep it. It is terrifyingly slow against a red-white or, what is it? Black-white, any aggressive deck, but opponent starts with Ice Tunnel into Mountain. They seem to be doing probably some very multicolored snow stuff as well. So we should be fine here, and we might even be able to pressure them with our Beskir Shieldmate we drew into. We drew some excellent draws to get out of the fact that we didn't have early game plays. Now this hand is pretty much perfect. We've got the early game plays, we've got the later game plays. Opponent starts with Behold the Multiverse, which is going to be excellent here. Scry 2, draw 2 cards. If they're stuck on any mana here, they get to scry into whatever, scry into the lands that they need. Alright, another blue source. They could just be like blue-red and using the Ice Tunnel for a tapped snow island. Like a blue-red Giants deck with a lot of Bergstriders would definitely take an Ice Tunnel just as a snow island. So they're not necessarily doing 5-color nonsense like I do pretty much every time. So we'll Path to the World Tree here for the red source, and then we'll have every single color, right? Green, white, blue, black, and red. Yeah, and then we can definitely crack a Path to the World Tree late game here. Let's grab the red source. Play that for turn, because I want to play whatever I reveal. And this also gives me another snowland, so we have some redundancy to help with Bergstrider if they blow up a land somehow. But I guess if they blow up the land, they'd blow up our blue source. Alright, there's a green-black duel from our opponent, so they are probably 5-color snow like we are. Alright. But yeah, that's one of the funky things about the... One of the funky things about the dual lands in this format is because they're snow lands, you never know for sure how many colors your opponent is actually playing, because there are blue-red Giants decks that just have blue-black and red-white duels in them just because they wanted a snow mountain or a snow island. So you never know for sure, but it seems likely. One of the strongest archetypes in the format. We haven't put a lot of pressure on our opponent here, which is going to be scary. But I think our deck hopefully has good enough late game to contend with theirs. But double Behold the Multiverse means they have drawn a lot of cards here. They're guaranteed to have some good stuff to play late in this game. So it all depends on how impactful the cards they managed to pick up were in their draft. And Undersea Invader's the discard. But yeah, our deck has like a lot of Lindworms and stuff. We know we get to crack a Path to the World Tree here, so that's going to be great. Do I want to just play a Lindworm here? Or do I want to play Bergstrider, tap down Sculptor, and attack in? Probably want to tap down Sculptor. Letting them ramp seems a little sketch. Alright, we definitely want to play the white source next turn. So we have all the colors. But then we're playing Lindworm. I just got the green source out of the way because... so I can't forget and mess it up next turn. If I played a white source this turn, I might accidentally play another Plains next turn and really mess myself up. Boreal Outrider. So any creature they play is going to come with the +1/+1 counter. They have pretty much every color of snow mana. We cannot kill that. We can only bind it in gold, and I don't really want to bind it in gold. I guess we could Path to the World Tree it here. We have 7, right? Because of Jaspera Sentinel. Do we push our advantage here and play a Lindworm and press in for attacks? I feel like we just pop this Path to the World Tree. Like, that's still great here. Yeah, we pop the Path to the World Tree. Kill that Boreal Outrider. And attack in for 4, and hit them for 2 in the face, and draw 2 cards. And get a 2/2. We draw another Lindworm. Yeah, I'm feeling good here. Feeling pretty good. Attack for 4, put them to 7. Well, they take it down to 7 here, facing a lot of creatures. Even if they Wrath us now, we've drawn enough cards, we can still get back in this. We've got 2 more Lindworms back up. If they don't Wrath us, we can Bind in Gold their best blocker and stay aggressive. And we even have a cheap card to play alongside Bound in Gold, so it's not like we're taking a turn off of casting creatures. We just cast Bind in Gold and Elven Bow instead of a Lindworm. Probably didn't give Jaspera Sentinel enough credit earlier in the draft, because it was super helpful this game. Even just getting that 1 more mana early, so that we could go ahead and just crack the Path to the World Tree a turn earlier. So they do Wrath us there. That is the thing I'm not a huge fan of. Kind of like Spirit of the Elder Guard Elven Bow, make our board wide rather than tall, because like we drop Lindworm, they just drop 1 removal spell. Like, their hand is loaded. They don't have more lands in hand. They haven't played a land for a turn or 2. They've missed land drops on 4 or 5 here, so there's no lands in hand. There's got to be like a 1 target removal spell to just kill a Lindworm. So I'd rather spread out the threats here. Play a Spirit of the Elder Guard, grab a Snowland, play an Elven Bow. Do we have a Snow Basic? Oh yeah, we do. We got plenty. So we'll grab a green Snow Basic so I can play that as the untapped land for turn, immediately buff Spirit of the Elder Guard and play Elven Bow in the same turn. Well, our mana base has operated pretty much perfectly here. Our search cards, our Path to the World Tree, Spirit of the Elder Guard were awesome this game. Mainly just Path to the World Tree. We got really lucky there. We hit a dual land, and then we just naturally drew some of the off-color lands, and Path to the World Tree to grab another one. Get that early game Path to the World Tree cracking. But now all of our 5-color cards are active. If we draw Prismatic Bridge or Path to the World Tree, those are massive impact here with how our mana is looking. Inga Rune Eyes. Probably shut that off as a blocker, then they can't block a 3-4 or a 2-3 well with their little 2-2 body here. But then we've used our 1 removal spell, might be a little bit sketchy. Because like they're pretty likely to play something bigger at some point. They've got 5 cards in hand here. But it's probably worth the pressure. When they're at 7 life, that guarantees at least 2 damage to them by shutting off 1 of their blockers. And they can't block outside of a chump block here. I mean, do we have 9 mana? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We only have 8 mana. We only have 8 mana here, so we can't Bind in Gold and play another creature. That's what I would ideally love to do. If they just like play Forest and start dropping Lindworms on me, we're going to have a problem. We're going to have a huge problem. And I feel like we'd have a bigger problem if they start dropping Lindworms if I Bind in Gold here and attack in just to press in some damage. But I guess if they had Lindworms, they could have just cast one last turn because of Woodland Chasm. Yeah, it's kind of, it forces a chumper. They go to 2. This could be wrong. I'm going for the bind, though. The alternative was to just attack with the Spirit. And then they probably double block and I kill Inga. Or maybe I'd choose Sculpture there. Or I could just not attack at all and play Lindworm. If I didn't want to cast Bind and Gold there. Alright, so we kill the Sculptor of Winter. Something. Even if these are like cheap cards in hand, Sculptor of Winter does help them be able to cast more things. So it is nice to get the Sculpture off the board. Alright, it's just the Frostbite here. Alright. Our opponent's not out of it yet. Again, they have... What I'm scared about is it's better to be mana screwed than mana flooded once you hit the late game, because then once you hit the late game, you just have natural card advantage. Like, they've still got several plays to go for. So... whenever my opponents are mana screwed, if it's not like, if they're not mana screwed when I'm like a super aggressive deck, then I am always scared of what they could have in hand to get back into the game. And now, like, they've got the 6 mana, they can cast anything in hand, really try to get back in the game here. The third part of Carter's Vicious Return is going to be really nice for that as well. That'll return a creature from the grave to the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. The haste doesn't matter, they're just going to want to block things, but they bring back that Undersea Invader. Comes to play tapped though, so it'll be just a tapped 6/7. They probably don't do that. Alright, Basalt Ravager and only 1 card left in hand here. You know, the good part for us about Carter's Vicious Return, because they were stuck on mana so long, they just didn't have any extra lands in hand to discard to it, so they had to discard an actual creature there. So yeah, just attack with Lindworm. They're forced into the chump block. I think we've seen what was stuck in their hand here. But just 2 stuck on mana to double spell enough to try to get back into the game. I think we're good. I'm going to hold on to Horizon Seeker just in case. Either one of these hits them for lethal. I don't want to get like Doomscarred here. Maybe they do have like a Doomscar, a double white card in hand they could just never cast. Although if they play another Carter's Vicious Return and make me discard a card, I'll be sad. Alright, they picked the Undersea Invader, comes in tapped, so I think we're good. Yep, they can't block both of these. That will be game. The Lindworm's coming in hot. Alright. Opponent actually got really close to stabilizing there. I think if they picked an untapped creature there, they actually had a shot if they drew well after that turn. Like, they pick an untapped creature, it doesn't really matter what it is. Like, they could even just choose the 2 mana 3/3 or something. And then they have the 3/3 block my 7/8, right? And then they have the 7/6 block the 6/6. So the 7/6 trades with the 6/6. The 3/3 does 3 damage to the Lindworm, dies, it has 5 toughness left. And then Cinderheart Giant's ability goes off, deals 7 to this Lindworm because it's my only creature left, so it doesn't do the random thing well anymore. And then they'd have nothing on board, I'd have nothing on board, but then I'd play a Horizon Seeker. I guess if they did that and had the untapped creature, I would play Horizon Seeker pre-combat, so there's a 50-50 shot that the Cinderheart Giant kills the Horizon Seeker instead of the big Lindworm. But I think they had a chance there. I guess it involved a coin flip because I was going to play another creature if Cinderheart Giant's ability was going to matter. So it involved a coin flip, so not a massive chance because it involved coin flip into needing to top deck well the next turn. But I'm just trying to say, I was still worried. There are still always things that can happen. You never know. Never know what's coming up. Magic gives me anxiety, as does all of life. Alright, so here we are now in round 2. Essica's Chariot here, we might be able to ramp out with Jaspera Sentinel. Not necessarily, though. If we don't hit another land here, we're going to be in for a bad time, especially if we don't hit a white source for Shieldmate, then Sentinel isn't actually hitting any mana. We need to draw 2 lands here. I feel like the cards in hand are powerful enough to get stuck on mana a couple turns and still have a great hand. So I'm going to keep it, but it's risky. We've got Essica alongside her Chariot for the flavor win. Another snow deck here, green, blue, red so far. Another green source, we get Essica turn 3. I'm into it. And we're definitely just slamming down Chariot the first opportunity we get. We have 2 cards in our deck, 2 Master Scalds that can bring it back from our grave to hand, so even if something goes wrong, like, whatever, that's fine. Sometimes it's nice to hold on to your bomb and try to get your opponent to kill your cheaper, less impactful stuff. This is not really one of those times, because we've just got ways to get it back anyway. So opponent really going off with the snow mana. Every land they have is a snow land, plus they have a Glittering Frost, so they have 4 mana on the board. All of it is snow mana. All I'm really hoping for is they just like tap out here. Path to the World Tree, not quite tapped out. They're going to have 3 mana up after this. Snow-covered Swamp into hand. Play it down. It's 3 mana of whatever colors they need here. Red, black, and a 3rd color off Glittering Frost. Priest of the Haunted Edge, -4/-4. Only at sorcery speed, so that can't kill an Essica's Chariot. Yeah, we're playing Essica's Chariot. This is a legendary creature when we crew it, which means we could tap it for a mana if it didn't have Summoning Sickness. Doesn't matter right now, because it does have Summoning Sickness, but maybe it matters in the future. You can still play Shieldmate, though, because Sentinel can tap one of these cats. We still have the power to crew Chariot on blocks if that somehow matters. But I do not think it will. Crush the Weak. Hilarious. That seems good. Could have played around it, but with blue mana over there, the common foretell cards are just way more likely, like a Demon Bolt or what's that draw spell? The draw spell that everyone runs like 20 copies of. 4 mana scry 2, draw 2. I forgot the name of it. But that's what I assumed their foretold card was, just that draw spell, because our last opponent, I guess that's because our last opponent played like 3 of them. Oh, we're doing really good on green mana. Let's grab white-blue. Yeah, Crush the Weak was absolutely disgusting here. And that might pretty much single-handedly win the game here. The 3-for-1. So basically blanked the Chariot. Sure, I can crew it with a Lindworm, but then it's just a 4-4. So I'm making a 4-4 with my 6-6. Doesn't really do much. Ooh, Dwarven Hammer's really good. Yeah, Dwarven Hammer's a nasty card. I played a ton of Dwarven Hammers when the set was first out. A lot of red, black, red, white aggro with Dwarven Hammers at the top end of the curve. A 5 mana, 5/1 trample. Then you have 3 mana to give anything +3/+0 trample. Such a good equipment. Makes your 2 power creatures trade up into 5 toughness creatures. So good. Dwarven Hammer's an all-star. I love this card. Just pop a Path to the World Tree here, draw a couple cards. Deal a couple damage to Lindworm, so Priest of the Haunted Edge kills it. Yep. We're not even going to want to attack with this chariot. Oops. Because it's not like it's making any token copies or anything, so let's just stop some damage here. Give us a little bit of time to draw something. Horizon Seeker. Alright. The game is over. Game pretty much ended at Crush the Week. That's a big bummer. I'm going to play around that a lot harder in the future. God, it's bad. I mean, could we really have played around it, though? Because we just played Sentinel turn 1. The only thing we could have done to play around it was, like, not play Shieldmate. Yeah, I think Crush the Week just wins the game regardless, even if we have Shieldmate in hand here. When they blank the Chariot, our hand had no action. We just did not expect them to have the card to just immediately blank the Chariot. Eyesight Troll's certainly a lot better than the Bear. Yep. Just the 5-color snow deck running at peak efficiency here. It'll be a real rough one. Not quite dead yet on board. Pop the Mirror Lake, make another Eyeside Troll here. No, they just passed turn. Alright, well, I mean dead on board. That'll do it. That was a super good deck from our opponent. They played like one non-snow land all game. They played one actual basic land. Every other land they played was a land they drafted here. That is my kind of deck. Yeah, their deck is sick. That's insane. They played one land that they didn't draft, and they didn't even have... They probably only had like one card that I would say is below the card quality of what I would generally run in the snow decks. So the fact that every land they played is a land they drafted, and they still had nothing but like premium non-land cards too, except for like Jarl. And Cinderheart Giant's not really premium. But I mean, Priest of the Haunted Edge, Path of the World Tree, Blizzard Brawl, Crush the Week, Dwarven Hammer, Eyeside Troll are all... I mean, those are high-pick, great non-land cards, yeah. Opponent has the premium 5-color snow deck there. That is a beating of a deck. I would be surprised if they don't 7-win there. They even have the utility lands you can cycle late game, like Yaramir Lake. That they could have used to make a copy of Eyeside Troll. Oh, maybe they didn't have double green yet for that. Or, ooh, Giant Ox into Eska's Chariot. Time for the bobsled run. Ox plowing the chariot. I'm all for it. I'm all for it here. I'm so excited. But we might get Wrath again. If we get Wrath again after the Chariot's not so good, but as long as your opponent can't wipe the board, Chariot should get us there. You can crew creatures the turn you play them, so we could just turn 2 this Path of the World Tree if we really want to, but probably just having a 0/6 out to block will be fine. Do I want to play Giant Ox or Path to the World Tree here? Get a land out of our deck. We don't really want to draw more lands. And the Giant Ox isn't doing anything on attacks. Obviously it's a 0/6 and they don't have any attackers anyway. Do I grab the Swamp here? We have 2 white sources, 2 green sources. We have 2 white sources, 2 green sources, a red source, and a blue source in hand. In hand or board. Yeah, we grab the Swamp. Now Path to World Tree's all set up. Even if they fight through Chariot, we get to crack a path to the World Tree, which is going to be great. Playing against green, white, blue so far, Draugr Thought Thief being the play. Alright. So now we go Shieldmate or Ox. And tapped land. I'll go Shieldmate because it trades into the Thought Thief if they attack in. If I just play Giant Ox, if they have like some kind of cheap removal like Bound in Glory in hand, they might Bound in Glory the Ox and then cry because then it can't crew anymore. Bound in Glory is like, or Bound in Gold is like it can't attack, block, or crew vehicles. Something like that. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. Maybe it can still crew. If it can still crew, we'd be fine there. Alright, 2 mana up. Could be the blue counterspell, the Foretell counterspell. They could also have Disdainful Stroke. Do we play around that? I think I'm going to. I think this hand's actually really good without Chariot too, so we can save Chariot to be a game ender if it doesn't get countered. Although if the hand's good without Chariot anyway, we might as well run the Chariot out, and then if it doesn't get countered, we win, and if it does, then the hand's still good. We just play our other stuff. I'm so worried about the Foretell counterspell here. But they're blue, green, red, white. It could be Crush the Weak. It could be the counterspell. It could be the draw spell. Really no telling. Let's play Resplendent Marshal. This still attacks really well, and it might draw the counterspell out if that's their foretold card. They have something instant speed. Maybe it's the Scry 2 draw 2 then, if it's not the counter. Now that we've Resplendent Marshal out, let's probably start getting aggressive. Unfortunately, our opponent is on the play here, so their path to the World Tree is going to pop off before ours. Alright, it's Demon Bolt. That is another option. So Chariot would have worked out well, unfortunately. But they could theoretically have still been holding up Disdainful Stroke alongside that. Bergstrider's the play. Now they can't hold up anything, so easy Chariot now. Although we could have Bergstridered instead, but Chariot is what I shall do. Are we going to crew the Chariot with an Ox? I don't think we are, because I think I'm going to play a Bergstrider here. Another Foretold card. Two more Foretold cards, alright. They're going to see my Bergstrider coming. Attack with the Bergstrider. Alright, must be Demon Bolt, something to just like kill Chariot here then. Yeah, their plan must be to kill Chariot. If I give Chariot +1/+1, they can't kill it anymore, can they? Play Maya, play land? Actually seems reasonable. Probably our best line. Because we can only play one card this turn, so there's no way we're supposed to just play Giant Ox. It's between Maya and Bergstrider, and we don't need to tap something down with Bergstrider. If we want to run into a counterspell, what would we rather run into it? Probably Bergstrider, but I don't want to play against the counter too hard. Maya's not that much better than Bergstrider. Let's see. Let's see what happens here. And Maya's going to be a lot better if one of their foretold cards is Demon Bolt. And Maya also puts 4 power out to crew Chariot and attack with everybody else, and the rest of our board gets +1/+1. Yeah, now they just have to Demon Bolt Maya. Because if I crew Chariot, it's a 5/5. If they don't Demon Bolt Maya right now, then I get to crew Chariot with Maya and the 1/1. Alright. So, I'm assuming if they haven't Demon Bolted yet, I'm assuming they don't have one. Oh, they don't even have red up. What am I on about? If they had Demon Bolt, they would have left a red up. Listen, sometimes brain no worky. The mana bases in this format just get so congested and cluttered up, it's like all over the place. I need to pay more attention to that. Yeah, they have green, blue, red, white. But they don't have red mana untapped right now. Alright, either way, it works out. They didn't really have much at instant speed. They had to Depart the Realm to kill a cat. which did kill both cats because it counteracted Chariot's ability to copy one. But we still, I mean, we got Maya out. And we're getting tokens out of Maya. Now we get to play Bergstrider, although we have 7 mana for Path to the World Tree. I'd rather Bergstrider here. Tap down their blocker. They have 1 Foretold card and 1 card in hand. Alright, they just scooped them up here. Pretty ridiculous showing from our deck. Eska's Chariot into Maya. After they got rid of our Mythic Rare before that, our Mythic Rare Angel. We do have multiple Mythics in here. The Angel and Eska herself. Pretty loaded in terms of the rarities in this deck. Well, let's head into the next round. Alright, so here we are now in round 4. We need to draw 1 land, any land, and we play Eska and then we can cast everything, because Eska into Spirit, I'm keeping it. We've got a 45% chance it lands with 15 in the 33 card deck. I'm not good at math. That's Untapped helping me there. All right. Land drop, let's go. 47% chance now. All right, we did not lose. Double coin flip, so we got there here. Esika, turn 3. And now we go off. Unless they kill Esika. If they Demon Bolt Esika, we're a little worried. We're not that worried. We can still play Story Seeker and Bound in Gold now. We've drawn pretty well. Story Seeker plus land is good here. Oh, Snakeskin failed during the end step? Kind of a weird Snakeskin fail, but I guess now they get to send the pup in. Get that damage in for sure. Because we can't block it anymore, because it threatens to attack as a 4-power first striker. Alright, so we naturally hit the next land here. And it's snow covered, which means we can Bergstrider. Bergstrider better than just playing a Spirit of the Alder Guard here. I think it is. If I wanted to play Spirit of the Alder Guard, I should have not played the Mountain. I should have just spent 4, played Spirit, and grabbed a tapped Snowland. So, part of the reason that Bergstrider is better is because of the way I played my lands. I'd be surprised if they attack with Fearless Pup here, but they can, because we have only 4 toughness. Alright, they still feel on the aggro here. Against the mana ramp we're pumping out. To the point where they even dump the mana into the pup. Alright, aggressive strategies from our opponent. I like it. Spirit of the Elder Guard, grab a tapped land. Probably an untapped land so we can play a Story Seeker as well. Just make sure we're really safe here. We should be good. I'm gonna grab an untapped land. Feels rough because I could grab like the blue source here, so we have all 5 colors if we draw a Path to the World Tree, but if we draw a Path to the World Tree, we could also just grab the land at that point and have all 5 colors. Alright, I'm feeling pretty good. Shieldmate might have been better because we're not really blocking super well with the Story Seeker. We draw the path, that's excellent. We could also just play a Lindworm here, have the board advantage by a mile. But if we play path, we grab another Snowland. But I don't want to grab a Snowland with path. I want to grab a black source or a blue source. I could Bound and Gold the mob, and then I'm attacking in well. I kind of like that. Path to the World Tree, we can Bound and Gold the mob. Grab the blue source here. I guess they can still double block one of these to kill it. But then we kill one of the 2, they're down to 2 cards in hand, so it's kind of worth the... We let them trade up to get damage in. Like, we have the card advantage here, especially with the ability to crack Path to the World Tree. Fearless Pup's actually better. in the elf. Because technically the elf's a 1/1 with an equipment on it, giving it +1/+1, or +1/+2. Oh, I guess if I killed that, then I could kill the pup with Path to the World Tree, but then they would have moved Bo over to the pup if they didn't have anything to cast this turn. We don't really get to attack in here, do we? We could have attacked and cracked Path to the World Tree, so that our 2/2 trades up into the 2/3, or our 2/1 trades up into it, but that seems bad when we've got a 6/6 coming down here. Or we can just Path to the World Tree this Dwarf token. Alright, there's the concession from our opponent. Path to the World Tree takes another victim. Pretty insane, uncommon. Alright, so now we're heading into round 5, 3-1 currently. Hand's pretty good here. Definitely a keep. Turn 1 Sentinel, turn 2 tapped land, turn 3 Bow. We've got our early game lined up, and the Sentinel helps ramp into the Scald a little earlier. Scald isn't really going to bring anything back, which is a little awkward, but should still be a good card. Just a 4/4. But now we have Spirit of the Alder Guard, so I think I'm not even going to tap Sentinel plus Bow to play Scald early. I'm just going to play Spirit. Spirit the turn after this instead of Master Scald. Help get that mana towards the Lindworm. Plus, it's going to be just as big as the Master Scald is, because we already have 2 snow permanents. It would be a 3/4 instead of a 4/4, but we can play it and still attack with all our creatures, which is nice. Svella from our opponent, they're on green-red. Ooh, 2 Highland Forests into Svella. Pretty nice start from our opponent. Never have been more excited about lands than in Kaldheim. Zendikar is supposed to be where you're excited about lands. Kaldheim is where they really made the lands shine. Oops, that was a misplay. Because I'm not attacking into Svella, I should have just tapped both my creatures to play Spirit, so I could play a tapped land to the Spirit. Yeah, play a tapped snow land that I pull out of my deck here. But I can still just grab like Snow-Covered Mountain and grab an off-color for if we hit one of our white, blue, black, red, green cards. But I really want to grab a green source. Yeah, this is awkward. Now I'm taking a Snow-Covered Forest instead of an Arctic Tree Line because I didn't tap the creatures to play Spirit. I should have been able to just grab Arctic Tree Line and play it and play tapped. That would have been better. So a misplay on how I chose to spend the mana there. Should have spent it with these, not played the land. So we have the land drop from Spirit to play a tapped land before we play Lindworm next turn. So it looks like just straight up green-red from our opponent, but Svella's just still a massive bomb for any deck that can cast Svella. You don't have to be a snow deck for Svella to be a very good card. They're going to fight our Jaspera Sentinel. That is irritating. It's the only thing they could kill, so the clear choice there. But that is going to muck up our mana a lot. Pretty big issue. We can throw this Elven Bow onto the Spirit of the Alder Guard so we can start attacking in. Seems fine. Is just playing a 4/4 Master of the Scald better? They're going to put 2 counters onto their Svella, so no, because Svella's just going to be a 4/6. Good God. Yeah, Svella's just going to be a 4/6 blocker, so this is like our one chance to crack through against a 4/6. They're just going to gain all that life back too. Arnie slays the troll. It's just popping off here. Doing some great things. Boreal Outrider as well for our opponent. Getting a +1/+1 counter on the rest of their creatures here because they've got double green-red duel. Horizon Seeker is out as a 4/3 now. Maya's a great draw because we get to play that before we play a land here. Sure, Lindworm's good, but we want to get max value out of Maya, get as many 1/1s as possible. Really want to hit a way to deal with Svella. And the only way that we have is our enchantment. I don't know if that shuts off activated abilities. I have to double check it here. Bound and gold. Enchanted permanent can attack, block, or crew vehicles, and its activated abilities can't be used. Yeah, we need bound and gold, and we need it ASAP. Struggle for Skemfar as well now. Kill our Maya, and make Svella now 5/7. They have 7 mana. They need 8 mana to start using Svella's ability and winning the game. So we need bound and gold immediately or Svella wins. This is going to be our Divine Justice for our last draft. We're going to be on the receiving end of Svella this time. Yeah, no, we just hit Resplendent Marshal. I think Svella just gets there. It's our best play here. We have a Human Warrior and an Elf Rogue engrave. We have a Human Warrior and an Elf Warrior, so we have 2 warriors if we play Resplendent Marshal and exile the Human Warrior from our graveyard. So that buffs the field, and we get a flyer out, so we know we can attack in even if they hold a 5/7 up, which they will, because they can use this ability at instant speed. Although they did make the Manolith at sorcery speed. So if they made the Manolith at sorcery speed, maybe they'll use Svella at sorcery speed. I don't think we can count on that reliably, though, so let's get some threats in the sky here and also buff up like our whole board. It seems good to me, because like Lindworm's just not attacking it against Svella if they hold her back. Okay. And I can move the equipment over and make one of these a 3/4. But I might want to move this over to the flyer here. If I make one of these a 3/4, I get to attack with both of these this turn. This trades into that. The other thing just can't die. Just could be wrong here. Maybe I'm supposed to just throw the equipment onto Resplendent Marshal, so it's attacking for 4 instead of 3 every other turn from now on. But that's only 1 more damage that way, and I feel like this is 3 more damage. Because otherwise they double block Spirit and I only kill 1, and I do 0 damage to them. And it's kind of like, it's not just 3 more damage, it's 3 more damage to them, plus I gain 3. So, it's going to take 3 turns from Resplendent Marshal to make up for the damage that I dealt by moving it that turn. And they kill Story Seeker instead of Resplendent Marshal, which I'm happy for. We get to attack with everybody now that they just have the 3/2 left. Yeah, they're using Svella at sorcery speed, which is really nice for me. It's a little bit confusing on the wording. I think making the Manolith, that's kind of obvious. You can do it at instant speed. But I see this mistake a little bit. The way that timing restrictions work is if you can use the ability at any time, it says, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may cast a spell from them without paying its mana cost. When it just says you can cast it, just period, it ends the sentence right there. It just says you may cast it, period. That means you may cast it the moment this ability goes off and at no other time. So that allows you to cast creatures or sorceries or anything like that at instant speed. So you can use Svella's ability during your opponent's turn because of that. So we have a Worm and an Elf Warrior on board. So we get rid of the Elf. But yeah, it's kind of confusing. If you have a card that says you may cast those cards until the end of the turn, then normal timing restrictions apply to that. Because then you just like treat them like they're in your hand. So those kind of effects can get confusing. This fella's such a big blocker now, a 6/8. We are never getting in, are we? We should play our biggest creature. I mean, I guess if they keep using Svella at sorcery speed, anytime they use Svella, we get to attack in. So, I think this game would be on lock if our opponent knew that they could Svella at instant speed. But, unfortunately for them, it doesn't seem like they they know the weird kind of timing restrictions rule of Svella, where you can cast sorcery speed stuff during your opponent's turn if you cast them off of Svella's ability. Alright, just a 3-2, yeah. We definitely get to attack in. They kill one of our Lindworms? Like, sure. We'll Path to the World Tree here. With a Master Skull to get it back eventually. 4 mana? We're going to have 7 mana, so we can play Path and Shieldmate and equip something. Equip the bow onto something. Probably grab our Snow Mountain here. We're only a black mana off from cracking Path now. Equip a Lindworm for more damage, because we have enough mana to just equip Shieldmate next turn anyway. Double block the 6/6, take 7, go to 3. Then we move the Elven Bow onto the Shieldmate, and we're attacking with 2 3-power creatures. Oh no, just chump blocks here. Alright, if it's just chump blocks here, they have more breathing room, but... I mean, they have more breathing room, so if they hold back Svella... things are not bad for them. Oh, Masked Vandal. Yeah, now with Masked Vandal, if they get rid of the Elven Bow, they might get rid of Path to the World Tree. I'm only 1 color from cracking that. So it is scary, because if we crack Path to the World Tree, we just win. But we don't have black, so it's not going to happen. We don't, like, literally win on the spot, but we draw 2 cards, get another creature on the board to go even wider. So I think Path to the World Tree kind of definitely finds us the victory, even if it doesn't win on the spot. So I could see them having chosen the path there. And unfortunately, Master Skald exiles, or Masked Vandal exiles, so Master Skald can't get anything back. We definitely have to play something here, so we have to just play the Skald for no value. Just a 4/4. They only have 2 blockers though, so this is guaranteed 5. If we're cool to sack a Lindworm, alright, well, we are no longer cool to sack a Lindworm. Giant Ox. Giant Ox looking pretty bad here. We just want anything with power still, because the life differential here, we're still at over twice their life total. Yeah, now they start using Svella. Doomscar Titan. They can't really get an attack in here, but it's another big blocker, which is important. Just big. We don't have any discard in this deck, do we? There's no reason trying to make them play around random nonsense. So I'm just going to keep this, that way we can crack Path to the World Tree. We're going to draw 2 off of Path to the World Tree, so being able to crack Path to the World Tree and still hold up a little bit of mana and maybe cast something immediately seems big. So we have 5 attackers, they block these 3 and take 5. We actually just trade with Lin... Yeah, no, we're fine. Right? Because if they want to kill a Skald with their Lindworm... they still have to lose the other creatures or take like 1,000,000. I don't know, we'll see here. Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like they just trade Lindworms, trade Skalds, and then chump block the other one. And that's fine for us. Whittle down the board and hit them. Land here, and they pass holding up Svella, so if I want to attack in, we lose Lindworm, deal 5. Lose Lindworm, deal 5. Next turn, attack 3. Lose this, deal 3. They're at 1 life. Path to the World Tree could finish them off. The biggest thing leaning me towards attacking here is I feel like it's pretty likely, because Svella is going to glow and be bright orange, it's pretty likely they're going to figure out that they can use Svella at instant speed here, and if they start using Svella at instant speed, I'm just at a guaranteed loss this game. Not 100%, but really likely. I'm going to press in aggressively here. This could absolutely be wrong, but they kill Lindworm, take 5, they're at 4. 4 life is low enough that Shieldmate plus Crack World Tree kills them. Okay, yeah, they have figured out they can spell at instant speed. But yeah, now Black Source wins. Black Source wins the game. We have a lot of ways to dig. A lot of ways to dig for that source. Fortunately, no Black Source immediately. The longer it takes, literally just like taking one extra turn from this point on, drastically tilts things back in their favor because it's another big blocker on their board. Or another blocker period, even if it's smaller. Attack all. We hit for 1 now. Oh dear. Alright, well, things are heading away from us pretty fast here. We lasted a lot longer than I think we should have. Ooh, maybe it's not over? We can't attack with this immediately, but I mean, next turn, they're at 4 life and we're really wide. Yeah, I mean, we have double Bound and Gold in this deck. Double Bound and Gold, either of those would have gotten us out of this, and we're 3/4 of the way through the deck too. So, it's kind of a rough one here. So, Svella taking things over, a little slower than she could have, but still taking things over. They're down to 12 cards in their deck, and they've looped through the whole library with Svella. That's a good Masked Vandal. So play it for Path of the World Tree. We attack everybody here, 1 creature gets in for 1 damage. So we still can't really. Maybe they mill themselves. They have 8 cards left, they have to kill us. They can't just survive with a bunch of these creatures. They do have to kill us. And they don't really have big enough threats to kill us here. They've seen the whole deck now with Svella for sure. Horizon Seeker's excellent. Horizon Seeker grabs the Black Source. We just chump attack with Horizon Seeker to draw a swamp so we can Path to the World Tree. So we might not need them to mill themselves. But yeah, I mean, they've dug through their whole library. When they use Svella 2 times, they're going to see the top 4, then they're going to see the bottom 4, then they're going to see the top 4, then the top 2, you know. They should know everything they have left here. So they'll know if they have enough stuff to find a win here. And I don't think they do. They probably don't. They just keep hitting small stuff, and we know they've seen everything that's left in the deck. So if there was bigger stuff in there, it would already be on the board. Squash the Ox. I guess so we can't crew. Can't block like freely anymore either. But Shieldmate still blocks super well. Still exiling off Firewalker? Yeah, I guess we just hope our opponent mills themselves here. Does Bergstrider win? They have 3 blockers. 1, 2, 3. They take 2. Not immediately, but it hits them for enough that when we play the Swamp to Path to the World Tree, we win. I feel like I just Horizon Seeker Path to the World Tree, honestly. And we'll still... We will still have much more cards in library than our opponents, so it's okay that we draw 3 cards here. 1 off Horizon Seeker and then 2 off Path to the World Tree. Yeah, they just got 5 cards left. Just get some random dorky creatures, but I'm at 31, about to be at 33. Draw a couple cards, have a Bergstrider backup. Rather kill Sculptor of Winter, because, I mean, I'd be happy to see them exile another card from their deck with the Firewalker. Excellent draws there, good lord. They have 4 cards, so Path to the World Tree is great. We still have 6 more cards than them, so we can crack this one too. Probably should have grabbed a green source, but I feel like I got a bunch on board. 4, 5, 6. There's a Frostbite. They have 3 cards left. Look at the final 3 cards in their deck, see if it's enough to find a win. The next fella. Sack it. Attack as much as they can. Mill a card from library. They got 1 card in deck now. Take 4. And they scoop them up. Just ran out of stuff there. Alright, well, maybe even if they were activating Svella sooner, we could have won. I don't know. We would have been... Definitely couldn't have been aggressive. But they did dig through the whole deck and didn't find enough to pressure us enough to kill us, so... They never managed to tilt things back in their favor there, so I guess... Theoretically, even if they were using Svella at full potential... Maybe they just didn't have enough high-impact late-game cards to find a win there, and they just mill themselves. As they did there. Alright, so we are on the play. We can probably hit Spirit of the Elder Guard. We just need to draw 1 land in the next 4 turns. I guess 3 turns. We don't draw on the first turn. If we hit the Spirit, then everything is active. Horizon Seeker makes that all perfect. We're all good here. Yeah, I love just having like the good chunk of 5-6 drops with all these early game ways to just pull lands out of the deck to guarantee that we're hitting our land drops as often as possible. They're so nice here. Horizon Seeker putting in some work this game for sure, unless they play like a 2-4. Then it's like, well, we're still probably attacking with it, but we're definitely much less happy about it. A 3-2 haste. All right, I want this land, so you can deal 4. Deal 4 all day long, and we hit the land anyway. Well, that's awkward, because now I just want to play Spirit of the Elder Guard. Rather than taking a turn off here. 2-4 to block the 3-2. Seems excellent to me. We want the blue source for Bergstrider, even though it comes into play tapped. So we won't be playing Bergstrider next turn. I don't want to block a 3-2 with our 3-2, although at this point it might not be horrible. I don't know. I'm going to attack in anyway. I feel like there's no, like, clear aggressor yet. Like, I'm not so committed to playing the defensive role that I want to hold the Seeker back just in case they kill Spirit of the Elder Guard with a Demon Bolt or something. Alright, so Calamity Bear is bad. That's a bad time. If they play any Giants and they're in blue-red, which are the colors for the Giants, then their Giants will deal double damage to everything, which is horrifying. Then we go Glacial Floodplain Sentinel so we can play Bergstrider next turn. We could also just play Forest Master Scald. Seems worse. Calamity Bear is going to attack in, well, regardless of what we do. Unless we play Master Scald. Maybe we do play Master Scald just so we can block Calamity Bear. And we could just hold off on Bergstrider for a while, like, it'll be fine. Yeah. Now that they've dropped Calamity Bear, I just want to play the defensive role. Oh no, Surtland Frostpire? I guess that only kills our Horizon Seeker and our Jaspera Sentinel potentially. But yeah, 2 damage to each creature. Pretty good land there. Could double block this. They do get to kill, right? They can split it, 1 damage to Seeker, and then... Oh wait, no they can't, because this is after you choose where you're putting your damage, right? So you would say, I have to do lethal to Spirit of the Elder Guard or Horizon Seeker before the effect goes on the stack. So they can either put 3 damage on Spirit of the Elder Guard, or 2 on Seeker and 1 on Spirit, and then double it. So they put 2 on Seeker, 1 on Spirit. Yeah, this is actually just a great double block for us. They can kill Spirit of the Elder Guard, or they can kill Horizon Seeker. They can't kill both because of the way it makes you stack damage. Nice. I'm so glad that I remembered that ruling there. Kind of a weird little feature of those kinds of effects, or bug, whatever you want to call it. So Invasion of the Giants, they're playing a giant deck. I don't want to just slam down Bound and Gold on something small here, so we're just going to play the Sentinel. hold back the Berserker. We're definitely on the defensive. We've got a Lindworm coming out next turn. We can gain some life, get back into this. We've got all the mana we need for all our cards, so we don't need to sit here boasting for more. So Bergstrider, uh-oh. Bergstrider shut down the Seeker. Sure thing. Take 3. Lindworm's going to be very big for us. Path to the World Tree is so nice. We can Path to the World Tree and play Bergstrider. It's almost as good as Lindworm, so I'm kind of cool with it. We can't Path to the World Tree and play Lindworm because we don't have a second creature to tap to Sentinel. Yeah, Path to the World Tree, we're going to have every color we need for it because we grabbed the red source here. We don't even need to tap Sentinel for it. That seems excellent. Grab the Snow-Covered Mountain. Play a Bergstrider. Next turn we can crack a Path to the World Tree, kill the Berserker, gain some life, draw some cards. This seems like a real big way to get back in this one. So the next giant costs 2 less to cast. So they could play the 7-mana giant. Nope, just another invasion of the giants. Scry more, try to dig towards it. Scry 1 to top, 1 to bottom, and Frostpeak Yeti is the play, so they have an unblockable creature potentially, but we have Bound in Gold to use on that in the future. For now, I think I'm still on Path to the World Tree, or Lindworm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We could have 8 mana, that's enough to Lindworm and Bound in Gold if we tap something with Sentinel. Maybe we play Lindworm, Bound in Gold here, save Path to the World Tree for a turn. Actually doesn't seem bad to me. So just gain that immediate life and just shut off their Frostpeak Yeti damage immediately. I'm more worried about that than no matter how big the giant is, like we can just double block it. But we can't block Frostpeak Yeti just ever. Alright, so no giant in hand from our opponent there, so I'm feeling pretty confident, pretty comfortable. We do have a Demon Bolt, but a Lindworm's still enough to block everything on the ground. Now we Path to the World Tree, see what's up. Kill the Firewalker so they can't draw cards off of it. It's just strictly better than the Berserker on board. Draw another Path to the World Tree. I'll absolutely take it. I forgot how to get to the World Tree. Could you remind me, please? Thank you, deck. I appreciate it. Double Path to the World Tree is just atrocious. It's ridiculous here. They might crack the Frostpire now. They kill everything but our Lindworm. But they kill their own 1/2 flyer and their 3/2. But their 3/2 is going to die anyway to our Path of the World Tree. I could see a reason to do it. If they have like nothing else to play this turn. Probably not worth it, because it leaves them with just a Bergstrider, but it'll probably be worth it after we crack this path, because then it leaves them with just a Bergstrider, but it leaves me with just a Lindworm. I lose 4 creatures, they lose 2. So I don't want to like overextend myself here, but I'm still going to use the path. But I'm not going to play any more cheap creatures that would die to the Frostpire. Elvenbow will not die to the Frostpire, so I will play it. Now we just start attacking with Lindworm, I guess. We're at 17 life now? Yeah, sure. Use the Frostpire, blow up the board. Attack me for 4. I'm winning that race now. They're down to 7. I've gained a bunch of life this game. And I have another Lindworm in hand to gain more. Another Breakneck Berserker, an Axguard Cavalry. Alright, now they're definitely not planning on a Frostpire here. Eska's Chariot? Can make bears instead of cats if we want. That's cool. I don't really want to run Chariot into the Frostpire. Might be wrong about that, but I don't know. I think I just want to keep stacking up onto the big creatures and have them whittle down the rest of their board. I can make this a 4/4, actually. Yeah, I kind of just want to play around Frostpire here. Just play a bunch of chonky stuff. Attack with those. Double block to kill Lindworm. Yeah, they're all in on Frostpire to clear the board, so I'm not playing anything here. Anything that dies to Frostpire, at least. They're going to take 4. Maybe they're not all in on Frostpire. If they were, they'd double block Horizon Seeker, probably. But I guess Horizon Seeker doesn't die to Frostpire. But neither does Lindworm. Alright, they scooped them up. Now, even if they Frostpire, we've got 10 power on the board. They've got nothing left. Cool. So yeah, that's why I'm on the... Just suit up the 4/4, get in some damage there, and slam down a 6/6 instead of a couple more 2/2s. So there we go, 5-1. We're at 650 gems as the reward of this. Only need to win one more game to break even now, and 2 more to get the full 7-win trophy run out of this event. Excellent hand here. Turn 3 Elven Bow, turn 4 Chariot. 3 colors, no blue, but Chariot's such a powerful card, we're keeping regardless. And if Chariot were any other green card, I would probably still keep. Draw Bound in Gold as well, so we've got some more playables, that's nice. Opponent starts with double green and foretells a card, so I would make an assumption, but I have been wrong about the foretell cards so often before. My assumption would be Seraph's Packmate, which will shut off our Story Seeker, and we'll be sad. Yeah, 3 green sources. They're probably playing the 4/4 Old Growth Troll turn 3 here, or they're just stuck on mana. I guess they're stuck on mana, and it's not Seraph's Packmate, so I was wrong again about the foretold card. I don't think I will ever accurately identify what has been foretold in this return to the Kaldheim format. I've done it before when Kaldheim was the main format, and it was like the only format we drafted for a while. I could kind of figure out sometimes, but I'm just wrong every time now. Rune of Might on the land to draw a card, so really stuck on 1 mana here. They have to have something powerful in hand to keep the 1 color hand. And still stuck on mono green. So, I mean, here's turn 4 Chariot. That might be the nail in the coffin. We've got an aggressive enough hand because we have Chariot to punish some Mana Screw. We'll see. Oh my god. Are they mono? There's no way they're mono green. They have to be getting unlucky here. There's kind of like no other explanation for having this many foretold cards and not casting any of them. Yeah, they can't even cast anything here. It's just going to their turn again. This is rough for our opponent. Not Fold Recluse, alright, 1 blocker against this gigantic board. Can definitely go wide for lethal. Maybe one of those is a struggle for Skemfar here. They have a removal spell at least, and that makes the Recluse a 3 toughness blocker. Still wide enough, right? Like they block Chariot and take 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Unless they have another struggle foretold, but then we're still wide enough. Block Chariot, take 2, 4, 6, 8. That's only if I play Bergstrider. I don't have a blue mana though, so I guess they could survive because I have to crew Chariot somehow. Alright, they scooped them up. Oh wait, I have double Bound in Gold, they can't survive. But they don't know about the Bound in Golds. Alright. That was a rough one for our opponent. Just a mono green hand with a bunch of green removal, but they didn't play a creature till like turn 5. Didn't draw into one there. So, really punished for their keep there. But that is 6-1 for us as we head into the final round. Potentially, if we win. Alright, here we are in what is potentially the final round if we win. Our last opportunity to actually cast the Prismatic Bridge. I don't think it's going to happen today. I guess if we lose this round, we still have a shot, but We're going to keep this hand, and it's double green and a white. Essica's our only early game play. There is no world in which I'm going to hold on to this Essica and try to cast her as this Prismatic Bridge, so maybe not being able to show off the Prismatic Bridge today, but pretty much everything else in the deck has had its opportunity to shine at least. Alright, well, our opponent starts with Battlefield Raptor, meaning they are an aggressive strategy. An aggressive white deck is going to be the best kind of deck to counteract the snow decks. The slow, rampy snow decks like we're doing. So, I think they have a better shot to win this game than any other archetype they could be playing. So, maybe we will lose this game and get a shot to play Prismatic Bridge at a later time. Alright, well, your combat trick to kill Sentinel if you want. They do not. They just hit for 2. And Shimmer Veil on white, so it is just straight up red-white aggro here. Elven Bow is a great play here. Get a reach creature out. 5 drops to play the next turn, though. Essica lets us play a 5-drop the turn after this. This might be wrong. I'm going to Essica. No snow mana for Bergstrider is a big deal. We're definitely going to play Master Scald first if we're playing a 5-drop next turn. Might Demon Bolt Essica. Alright, use a combat trick here. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe a Frostbolt. 2 damage. Frostbite. Stalwart Valkyrie, 3/2 flyer. Now I really, really want the Elven Bow. Don't want it badly to play it over a Master Scald here. Yeah, I have the mana to play Elven Bow plus Giant Ox, so I can block Story Seeker on the ground anyway, even though Essica's going to be tapped. Yeah, no, totally. Totally want Elven Bow over the Ox, because then even after the 2/3 trades into the Valkyrie, we just move the bow onto our other stuff. Yeah, pretty good way to get the blocks we need going. And if I don't care about like trading into their stuff, I could even get a little wild with it and throw an Elven Bow onto the Giant Ox. Just Ox with a gigantic bow. Just blocking everything with its big old 1/8. It's 8 toughness booty. The thickest Ox. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty comfortable here. They only have 3 cards in hand. We have 3 cards in hand as well, but our cards are probably higher impact than their 3. 2 5-drops and a 6-drop here. Ooh, Basalt Ravager, though. That definitely kills something. It killed Jaspera Sentinel. I guess, yeah, it only does 2 damage. That's the only option again. People keep killing our Jaspera Sentinel, and I keep getting really sad about it. I'm like, oh, that's such like the perfect line from our opponent. I needed that Jaspera Sentinel so bad. And then I'm just like, wait a sec. That was the only thing they could kill anyway. Things just line up so badly. Could play Maya and give our stuff +1/+1, but we're not making any creatures off Maya immediately. I think I'd rather play a 4/4 or equip the bow, because now we have no flying blockers. So these Battlefield Raptors hit us, but they hit us for 2 a turn and we have a gain 4 life card in hand. We'll probably just play Master Scald, right? Probably just play Master Scald. Play Maya when we have another land to play. Although I guess once I get another land, I'm going to want to play Lindworm, so I didn't think that through 100%. I'd rather trade here or just block with an 06? Probably block with an 06. They want to use some burn on our Giant Ox, they've got it. Another Stalwart Valkyrie for the discount, so they still have 2 mana up. And a Fearless Pup going pretty wide here. Eska's Chariot's huge. Can crew that with the Ox. Yeah, that's so many blockers. It's got to be Chariot. It's nothing on the ground, though. Or nothing in the sky, though. Just awkward. I maybe got overexcited about that. But their ground board's pretty wide now. We can block everything on the ground now. But we take 5 now this turn. We really need to start throwing this Elven Bow onto stuff. Doesn't even matter what we throw it onto, just put it on something. Hound and Gold, the Elven Bow. Uh-oh. Well, Lindworm, Bergstrider, we're all in on these two now. We have to start making our own aggro. We really want to hit a Snow Sword for Bergstrider, or just any land for Lindworm. Spirit of the Alder Guard grabs a Snow Sword for Bergstrider, but doesn't get any immediate life. Take some big hits here. We have got to counteract this aggro. Take 5. We're just going to take 5 in the sky next turn, I think. Grab the blue-white source. So we have a blue and a snow. Crew Chariot with Ox for sure. We need 3 blockers on the ground. We can block with Essica, Spirit of the Elder Guard, and a 2/2. So we get aggro. Let them trade Basalt Ravager into Chariot just to get damage coming their way now. And Maya really stacks that extra damage on once we stabilize with Lindworm and Bergstrider. If they have Kaya's Onslaught for +1/+1 double strike to kill us in the sky, so we're really hoping... They didn't have any combat tricks any earlier turns, so we're just hoping they don't run them in their deck. They don't have combat tricks. I think we've got a decent shot at this game even without the Elven Bow. But if they do, we're going to have some issues. We'll probably just die on the spot. Okay, so we're at 4. Facing 2 flying damage. Facing 6 flying damage. Bergstrider's not enough anymore. We have to... Or, I'm sorry, Lindworm isn't enough anymore. We have to... Neither of these is enough anymore. Starnheim Courser off the top just gets us... Dang, I feel like we had a really good shot here. They just kept playing flyers on us. Locking down the Elven Bow was really smart from our opponent. They're at 20 life. If we play Maya, can we force them into a block? It doesn't even matter if we do, because we kill 1 flyer and die to these. Can we kill them, though? There's no way, right? We play Maya, they chump block there. Take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe. Well, Lindworm gains 4, right? We're at 8, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We actually survive with 1 life with Lindworm, because Lindworm gains 4. Lindworm's the only play we can do. We need 1 blocker on the ground, because they have Fearless Pup, so we attack with literally everything. And then play Lindworm. And then we have to try to kill them next turn, I guess? Yeah, I guess I miscounted. Lindworm does give us enough life for 1 more turn. They have 1 top deck to kill us on the spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Oh my god, okay. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 power on the board. They can't attack with everything if they don't have a combat trick or another creature to block with. And that's on board. So you stack Maya onto that, we probably do have lethal next turn, even if they like swing all, play 1 creature to block Lindworm. We probably still have lethal. So they keep the Raptors back, very smart. Attack for 5. And we're down to 3. Down to 3 means Bergstrider. Bergstrider's not enough alone, and we have 7 mana only. We can't cast Bound in Gold and Bergstrider. 3 life here. We can shut off 1 of the flyers. We can force them into chumps with the Battlefield Raptors, potentially. Cravenholt can't block alone, so Cravenholt can't block unless they block with a Battlefield Raptor as well. 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We just attack all and hope that they chump with Raptors, but they probably just put the Raptors on our 1 power stuff. If I attack for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, if I attack with just these, they have no choice but to take 14 or chump with a Battlefield Raptor, at least one of them. They need to chump with 2, though. We have to make them chump with 2. I think we have to make it look really threatening here. Go with the attack all, but if they don't... We have to get them to chump. There's no... We can't do that. They're straight up just going to lock the 1/4s. I don't feel like they're any more likely to chump if we don't attack with the 1/4s. So, I mean, we just do this and cross our fingers. Chump with both raptors. We hope they go like Craven Hulk onto Essica, Battlefield Raptor on Lindworm, Battlefield Raptor on Master Scald. No. Oh! Even if they leave just one Battlefield Raptor, they have it. And currently they're saving one Battlefield Raptor. They're saving them both. Rough. Hmm? Nope, they save a raptor. Yeah, they got us. If we had played Maya, they know everything. Like, they know we're not going to follow it up with anything, so they would just chump Lindworm, chump Scald, chump a 2/2. They'd take like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something. We'd definitely survive if we play Maya. If they never killed our Jaspera Sentinel, we'd have enough mana here. We would have had enough mana to double spell. Double spell would have got us there. Close one. Close one. Very well played from our opponent. Alright, here we are in the final round of the day, no matter what happens. And this is not how we want to start. 2 lands, no green sources with 3 double green 6-drops. There is no universe in which I keep that. This is really bad. And we have like 9 green sources we can try and draw. We're on the draw, and we definitely play Story Seeker. If we hit 1 green source, we're playing Path to the World Tree. Oh, this is really not how I want to end it. Really do not want to mold a 5. Really, really do not want to mold a 5. I'm going to keep this. We just need 1 green source, and green sources are the highest. The most highly represented source in our deck. It's like a 1 in 4 every draw for a green source. And we can wait a little bit for it. Playing against white-green here with a turn 1 Battlefield Raptor might be another aggressive matchup. Which would be really bad for us, because not only are we the slower deck with a lot of 5 and 6 drops in the deck, but we are not guaranteed to be casting spells early game in this game for sure. We do hit a 3rd land, which is good. That's way better than just another green card here. So we're not off to a terrible start here. Gladewalker counter on the Raptor. I'm super into that. Yeah, because now they just don't attack with it, so we're just walling off the damage here because they don't want Story Seeker to chip in. Hit another Plains here. At least we have 4 mana. Certainly a thing. Another Battlefield Raptor from our opponent. Giant Ox. I mean, we're not under that much pressure. Now we start taking 1 a turn because they can just attack with the smaller Raptor pretty freely. They could attack with the bigger one now because they can double block the Story Seeker and kill it. Okay, now they have Axe Guard Braggart, so they can definitely start hitting for 3 a turn. So now we're under pressure. Now we're under a clock. It's like a 7-turn clock, so we still have quite a while to draw the green. The green hits the second green because Path to the World Tree, and there we go. Arctic Tree Line, let's go. Now we're playing with gas here. Maya? Oh god. These early plays weren't really going to punish us for the stumbling beginning, but a Maya will for sure. Take 5 in the sky now every turn. Playing Elven Bow. You can block a Battlefield Raptor by playing that. We have 6 mana total. We could play a Lindworm and gain 4, but then we take 5 in the sky, but then they can't attack on the ground. They already aren't really attacking on the ground well. So I think I Elven Bow Path to the World Tree here. We could even Elven Bow and put it on Story Seeker, actually. That might be good. Is that better than a Path to the World Tree? We need blue and black before we're cracking Path to the World Tree. We could grab one of those two, and then we're only 1 color off from cracking it, which is good. It doesn't have any immediate impact on the board. We already have as much mana as we need to play a Lindworm next turn. Almost feel like Bow on Story Seeker's better. It's going to play worse if they removal spell us. They bound in gold. But if they bound in gold, we're kind of losing regardless, because Path to the World Tree isn't immediately affecting the board anyway, so if they bind in gold either way, like they bind in gold 1 creature, we can only block with 2, we take like 7 minimum. Or if they struggle for Skemfar, even worse for us. Arachniform is actually really bad for us too, because now that's attacking as a 4/5. And King Harold's Revenge. Whoa! Alright, well, it happens. That's a definite loss now. Must be blocked and they trample over. Double Lindworm isn't enough. We're taking 7 and we're just gaining 4 and going to 7. Really sad way to end it there. Mull to 5 or get stuck on green sources were our 2 options. Basically either of those is usually a death sentence, certainly against that. Not like the craziest aggressive hand. If we drew perfectly, we could beat their hand, but if we stumble pretty much at all, turn 5 Maya with the 2 Battlefield Raptors, throwing more auras and stuff onto them, more damage from King Harold's Revenge. We were going to need a pretty good start against that, and we were just guaranteed not to, having to mull to 6 or mull to 5. Mull to 6, no green, or mull to 5, and just have only 5 cards to try to deal with this. I think this round was a guaranteed loss, unfortunately. 6-3, really big bummer. Wanted to go 3 for 3 on my Kaldheim drafts. I did play 1 off stream. I did 7-2, 7-1, and now 6-3. Really wanted to 3-peat there. That would have been really good. And I think this deck deserves it. I think this deck has some real ridiculous bomb power. It's got great mana fixing overall. But we are still running quite a lot of colors here. So the mana base will punish us in that final game. So, yeah. As always, the biggest threats against us, the quick aggressive decks like we lost to in the middle round, the one right before the final round there. So, final round definitely lost to some variants. The round before lost to a great aggressive deck with a lot of flyers we just couldn't find the answers for. And then our earlier loss was just the Stone Cold Nuts 5-color snow deck. I'm still really jealous of that deck. They played 1 land that they didn't draft they played one like basic land. Everything else was a snow land, a dual land, or a spell land, and they only had like 1 or 2 mediocre non-land cards, which is pretty phenomenal. That was a sight to behold, that 5-color snow deck with the Crush the Weak to super demolish our Chariot play, so we had no way of getting anywhere in that game. So 6-3, I mean, I'll take it. Pretty great record regardless. But that will end the video. So as always, if you enjoyed that draft and you'd like to see more videos like this, you can always stick around the channel, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. These will let the YouTube algorithm know to send you more of the videos in the notification feed. And you can also check me out on Twitch, where I do live stream some more drafts occasionally there. So, as always, once again, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.